All right, let's go to some issues in Victoria because, as I said at the top of the show, no secret that the ambulance system is in crisis. Despite the Premier's spin, reports in today's Herald Sun confirmed that ambulance response times for critical emergencies are worse now than when Daniel Andrews came to office in 2014. Just 64% of critical Code 1 calls across the state are being attended to within the 15-minute target. Now, in some regional areas, that figure's a hell of a lot worse. It's as low as 56%. Throughout the state, not a single local government area is meeting the benchmark of 90% of Code 1 incidents responded to in less than 15 minutes. Joining me now, Victoria's Shadow Health Minister, Georgie Crozier. Well, Georgie, stats don't lie. This is a damning indictment on the Andrews government. The Premier said only a couple of months ago, this was a top priority for him to fix. So what's going wrong?
Well, he hasn't fixed it, Peter. He promised in 2014 that he'd fix the ambulance crisis. Well, it's worse today than it was 8 years ago. And sadly, it has been Victorians who have tragically paid the consequences for the mismanagement. As we know, there's just been dozens of Victorians who've lost their lives because of the failures in the system.
You're an experienced nurse before you went into politics. I mean, this is not just a funding issue. This is a breakdown of the whole system. Give us a sense of what a Code 1 emergency is.
Peter, that's an emergency situation that somebody like a father just a few weeks ago, 36-year-old Danny, who was experiencing chest pain and trouble breathing. That's a Category 1 that needs lights and sirens. That's what those figures you referred to are referring to, that you need an ambulance when you're in a situation like that. Unfortunately for Danny, one didn't arrive. His wife had to take him to hospital. She was in a nearby shopping centre, but he sadly died. Now, that happened just a few weeks ago. That's what we're talking about here, are real people behind these statistics. And the Category 1, when you are in a situation like that, needs to be responded to urgently, and it's just not happening.
I know a lot of whistleblowers are talking to you. Morale's pretty low in the health system, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There are so many people, clinicians, nurses, doctors, paramedics are speaking to me. They're very concerned about what's happening in where they're working, whether it's in emergency departments, whether it's in the ambulance system, whether they're nurses on the ward or doctors right across the system. There is just real concern about the severity of the health crisis here in Victoria, and these clinicians are starting to speak out, and I'm very, very grateful for them doing so because they're telling the story about what is actually happening, and it is not good. And for Daniel Andrews to say today that the response times were getting better is just ridiculous. That is absolute bunkum. You've got these response times, 56% in regional Victoria just a few days ago, responding in time is not good enough, and it's not much better in metropolitan Melbourne either.
Yeah, well, let's go to another related issues to all of this, because at the last election, the Premier ruled out a heroin injecting room. Straight after he was re-elected, he put one in, he calls it a trial, it's anything but a trial. Heroin and ice in North Richmond. The Police Association don't support it. They say crime's gone through the roof. We know there's talk about another one in the Melbourne CBD, supported by the government, also supported by the Lord Mayor Sally Capp. Ken Lay, a former top cop in Victoria, was doing a report. The report apparently says, certainly the initial draft, I can't see the case for a second injecting room. Well, he's been told, go back and redo your report. He wants one. There's talk of them going out into other suburbs as well. But we're not going to see this before the election, are we?
No, the government has said the Lay report will not be released before the election. It shows the extent that the government will go to hide what Ken Lay has said. Now, in that draft report, that first report, he said it wasn't needed. That didn't meet the government's agenda. So they told him to go away and rewrite it. It just shows the level of what this government will do. There will be a second injecting room in the city. I have no doubt about that, probably across the suburbs as well. This government, it will go to such lengths to hide what they're planning from Victorians before the election, and I think every Victorian should be concerned, not just about this decision, but so many others.
Well, people have got a choice to make come November. Georgie Crozier, thank you.